Tonight, we delve into a truth so profound yet so simple, it often eludes the grasp of man. Are you tired, truly weary of the endless struggle, the relentless chase for that which always seems just beyond your reach? Do you yearn for a life of abundance, of true financial freedom, where worry over means and ends is but a distant, forgotten shadow? Perhaps you dream of becoming a millionaire, not as a fleeting fancy, but as a solid and inevitable reality. I tell you now, and listen with your entire being, this is not a mere possibility. You will be a millionaire, perhaps in 1 month's time, or even sooner, from the very moment you truly awaken to and accept the power that sleeps within you. This profound transformation will not be wrought by the sweat of your brow alone, nor by the clever machinations the world so fervently advocates. It will not be delivered by luck or by chance, nor by any external deity or force dictating your circumstances. No, it will manifest because you will finally recognize and dare to claim the truth of your own magnificent being, the unshakable, immutable law of your own consciousness. For imagination, your own wonderful human imagination, is God, and it is by this divine power and this power alone that your entire world is called into being. So you ask, how is such a monumental shift possible, especially in what seems like so short a span of time? The answer lies not in altering the external world, but in transforming the inner world, the world of your imagination, the world of your assumptions. For this, my friends, is the cornerstone, the very bedrock of all existence. Imagining creates reality. What you truly imagine, what you assume with feeling to be true, has no choice but to objectify itself in your world. It must. This is not a whimsical notion, not a pleasant philosophy to be debated. It is law, as certain as the sun rises, as certain as the tides obey the moon. So too does your outer world conform to the sustained convictions of your inner man. When I speak of becoming a millionaire, I am speaking of adopting the state of consciousness of being a millionaire. You do not try to become it. You assume that you already are it. You see, the riches you desire, the lifestyle you long for, the security you dream of, they are not out there waiting to be earned through Herculean effort alone. They are within you as imaginal states, awaiting your command, awaiting your acceptance. The world you now perceive, with all its seeming solidity and its undeniable facts, is nothing more than the outpicturing, the shadow of your previous assumptions, your past states of consciousness. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, all are but faithful witnesses to what you have, consciously or unconsciously, accepted as true about yourself and your world. Therefore, to change the reflection, you must change the source. You must change what you are assuming, what you are imagining. Now, do not look to the newspapers, to the pronouncements of so-called authorities, or to the current balance in your ledger for permission to assume wealth. These are echoes of the old man, the man of limitation. The new you, the millionaire you are now choosing to be, is born of a new assumption, a new inner conviction. Your present reality is the harvest of past sowing, but your future reality is being sown this very moment by the assumptions you entertain and live by now. Now that you understand that your imagination is the creative force and that your assumptions shape your reality, the practical application becomes clear. You must learn and master the art of living in the end. This means dwelling in the feeling of your wish already fulfilled, not as a future event to be hoped for, but as a present established fact. If it is millions you desire, then you must feel yourself to be a millionaire now. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what would it feel like? Not just the thought, but the distinct, palpable sensation. Would there be a sense of relief, of security, of quiet joy, of expanded freedom. Capture that feeling, that specific emotional signature. You must walk as though you already possess what the world, in its limited perception, says is still to come. Dine with the wealthy in your imagination. Walk through your imagined mansion in consciousness. See the figures in your bank account as already done, final, unquestionable. I am not speaking poetically, my friends. I am speaking literally. Everything in this world is a manifestation of imagination. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, the very voice you hear me with now, all came forth from an inner imaginal act. Someone imagined it, dared to believe in the invisible, and the visible world conformed. So if you say, I want to be a millionaire, that is not enough. Wanting is a confession of lack. It perpetuates the very state you wish to escape. You must say instead, and feel with conviction, I am a millionaire. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Even if the senses scream, no. Even if the bills pile high, even if logic and friends call you mad, you must persist in this inner assumption. For God in you, your own wonderful human imagination, is he who speaks when you dare to believe something grand about yourself. And it is he who fulfills when you dare to persist, despite all outward appearances. In exactly 1 month, if you persist in this assumption, in this feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will see the fruits of your assumption manifest in your world. Consider the story of the man I mentioned, down to his last dollar. He did nothing in the outer world to make it happen. He simply accepted wealth as real in his imagination, and the world had no choice but to conform. The greatest stumbling block on this path to fulfill desire is the tyranny of the outer senses and the insidious whisper of doubt. Your present circumstances, the facts as presented by your 5 senses, will often contradict the new reality you are assuming. This is where many falter. They look at their empty pockets and their assumption of wealth wavers. They hear a rejection and their assumption of success crumbles. Do not make this fatal error. To ask how your desire will come to pass after you have assumed it is to admit you do not yet believe. The how belongs to that deeper dimension of yourself, to God. Your task is not to figure out the bridge of incidents that will lead to your millions. Your task is to accept the end. Live in the end. Feel the reality of already having what you want. For that which you accept as true of yourself, though denied by the senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So do not look to the newspapers, the bank account, or the outer circumstances. These are the shadows of previous assumptions. They are echoes of the old man, not the new you. The new you, the millionaire, is now. You must walk as though you already possess what the world says is still to come. When these shadows of your former self appear, when doubt creeps in, do not wrestle with it. You cannot fight darkness with more darkness. You dissolve it by turning your attention away from it and returning with unwavering faith to your assumption, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If an old thought of lack arises, say to it, that is not my truth any longer. I am wealthy. I am abundant. Remember, the law does not care whether your assumption is true or false in the eyes of the world. It simply reflects with perfect fidelity what is impressed upon it by your consciousness. You are the operant power. You choose what to believe. And if you will believe, truly believe that you are already wealthy, that the money is already yours, that every need is met, then you will watch reality reorganize itself to reflect that inner conviction. It must, for the world is a mirror, and it reflects what you are, not what you merely want. Merely understanding the principle is not enough. You must apply it. You must work with these tools of the Spirit, these divine mechanics of creation. The Scripture tells us, be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. And the word is your imaginal act, your sustained assumption. One of the most potent techniques is what I call the state akin to sleep, or SARS. Each night, just as you are drifting off to sleep, that drowsy, receptive state where the conscious mind is quieted is your workshop. It is here that you impress the subconscious mind, the womb of creation, with your desire fulfilled. Construct a short, simple scene, an action which implies your wish is already a reality. If it is wealth, perhaps you are calmly viewing a bank statement showing a magnificent balance. Perhaps you are graciously accepting congratulations on your tremendous success. Do not see it as an observer. Be in the scene. Feel the texture of the statement in your hands. Hear the voices. Feel the joy, the relief, the quiet confidence that is yours, because your desire is already an established fact. Loop this scene with feeling over and over until you drift into sleep, immersed in its reality. As the psalmist said, he giveth his beloved sleep, and in that sleep the seeds you have planted with feeling will germinate. Another powerful tool is the use of I am affirmations, but not as mere repetition of empty words. When you say I am wealthy or I am abundant, you must feel the truth of that statement in the very core of your being. I am is the name of God, your own consciousness. Whatsoever you affix to I am, you become. So discard affirmations of longing like I want to be rich and embrace the powerful present tense declaration of I am rich, I am secure, I am free. Let this be your inner song throughout the day. Then there is the profound art of revision. At the end of each day, before you enter state akin to sleep, review the day's events. If anything occurred that was contrary to your assumption of wealth, any news of lack, any frustrating encounter, do not let it pass unrevised. In your imagination, rewrite that scene. Change the conversation, alter the outcome, make it conform to what would have happened had your assumption of wealth already been an objective fact. As you do this faithfully, you are literally altering your past in imagination. And since the past and future are ever present in imagination, you are reshaping your future. Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. You are binding yourself to new states through revision. And finally, maintain a mental diet. Be vigilant about the thoughts and feelings you entertain. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought when you are consciously creating your world. If thoughts of lack or fear arise, and they will, for they are habits of the old man, simply recognize them and gently but firmly turn your attention back to your assumption, to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feed your mind with thoughts of abundance, success, and joy. Starve the doubts and feast on the feeling of your desire as an accomplished fact. Lest you believe these principles are confined to ancient texts or unsuited to the sharp realities of your modern life, allow me to share how this immutable law operates, always and everywhere. The outer circumstances may shift with the decades, but the creative power within you, your imagination, is constant and supreme. There was a woman, let us call her Sarah, an entrepreneur with a truly innovative service, yet her business was teetering on the brink, capital nearly exhausted. The world, her senses shouted limitation. Reminders from creditors were daily occurrences. New clients seemed a distant dream. Instead of succumbing to the narrative of failure, Sarah committed herself to living in the end. Each night, in state akin to sleep, she didn't beg for a bailout. She lived in the feeling of her business flourishing. She felt the deep satisfaction of her team celebrating milestones. She heard the murmur of happy customers. She experienced the profound relief of financial stability and growth. During her waking hours, whenever a wave of fear arose from a sternly worded letter or the sight of sparsely filled shelves, she would revise it. then her imagination. That letter became a note of commendation for her unique wares. The quiet shop, a brief lull before the next rush of satisfied clients. Within a few weeks, an old acquaintance, Mr. Harrison, whom she hadn't thought of in years, reached out. He'd stumbled upon her initial business proposal, tucked away and forgotten, and was now in a position to invest, not just with funds, but with invaluable industry connections. Did Sarah conjure Mr. Harrison? No. Her unwavering assumption of success, her persistent inner state of a thriving enterprise, simply rearranged the elements of her world, making his re-entry into her life seem perfectly natural, inevitable, even. Or consider David, a gifted composer, whose melodies were rich with emotion, but whose work was known only to a handful. His rented room was filled with scores that yearned for an orchestra, yet commissions were non-existent. He began to assume the feeling, the inner conviction of being a recognized and respected composer. He didn't merely wish for it. He dwelt in the state of it. In his imaginal acts, he wasn't toiling in obscurity. He was feeding the vibrant hush of a concert hall just before his symphony began, hearing the rich tones of the orchestra bringing his notes to life, experiencing the profound satisfaction of the final resonant chord and the ensuing applause. He lived this inner reality, this new self-concept, with steadfastness. Then, a notable conductor, while reviewing a pile of unsolicited scores, something he rarely did himself, felt inexplicably drawn to David's manuscript. This led to a performance, then another, and his name began to be spoken with respect in musical circles. The world, you understand, simply mirrored the new identity David had so faithfully embraced within. Even in the structured world of commerce, take Maria, a diligent clerk in a large firm, who had been repeatedly overlooked for advancement. Rather than allowing resentment to fester, she chose to assume the responsibilities, the demeanor, and the feeling of the supervisory role she earnestly desired. She didn't complain about her current tasks. She inwardly enacted the poise, the clear judgment, and the respected authority of the position she was claiming as her own. She meticulously revised any instance where she felt slighted or her abilities underestimated, replaying it in her mind as one where her superior sought her opinion and acknowledged her capabilities. It was no great surprise to her when, following an internal reorganization, a new department required a supervisor. Those making the decision saw in Maria not merely the clerk her current title suggested, but the capable, confident individual she had already become in her own consciousness. These are not fictions conjured from fancy, but illustrations of the methodical, unwavering application of your own imaginal power. The bridge of incidents that ushers in your desire may appear as a sequence of ordinary, even chance events to those unaware of the law, but you will know the true genesis was within born of a daring assumption held with feeling until it became the dominant conviction of your being, your unshakable inner reality. When you successfully shift your consciousness, when you truly feel yourself to be the man or woman who already possesses millions, something profound occurs. It is not that you begin to frantically manipulate the outer world. No, the world itself begins to respond, to reshape itself around your new assumption. This is the great secret. You will notice coincidences, seemingly chance encounters, unexpected opportunities that align perfectly with your assumed state of wealth. A person will appear with an offer. An old contact will call with a proposition you never anticipated. A new idea, brilliant and clear, will light up your mind. These are not accidents. These are not mere strokes of luck. They are the effects, the natural and inevitable outpicturing of the cause which is your sustained, feeling-toned assumption. The scripture says, to him that hath more shall be given. This is not a cruel decree favoring the already fortunate. It is a statement of immutable law. To him that hath the consciousness of wealth, to him that feels himself to be wealthy, more evidence of that wealth must and will be given. The world is not happening to you. You are happening to the world as you imagine, as you assume, as you persist in your chosen state. Think of it this way. Your current assumption, your dominant feeling about yourself and your finances is a specific vibratory state. When you change that assumption to one of opulence and security, you begin to resonate at a new frequency. And like a magnet, you begin to draw unto yourself all things that are in harmony with that new frequency. People, circumstances, ideas, they will be drawn to you, seemingly, of their own accord. But in truth, they are responding to the shift that has first taken place within you. This is why it is so crucial not to be swayed by present appearances. If you look to your current lack as evidence that your assumption is not working, you are, in that very moment, reverting to the old state of lack, and the world will continue to mirror that. You must be like the faithful farmer who plants a seed and does not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. He waters it with faith, knowing that if the seed is good and the inner work of germination is undisturbed, the harvest is certain. Your job is not to worry about the timing or the mechanics or the intricate details of how your millions will arrive. Your job is to dwell steadfastly in the state of already having, to feel the joy, the relief, the quiet confidence of that accomplished fact. Understanding these principles is but the first step. Applying them is where the transformation truly occurs. Therefore, I offer you a challenge, a sacred covenant with your own higher self for the next 30 days. For 30 days, commit to living as the millionaire you desire to be, not in outward show, but in the sanctum of your own imagination. First, each morning upon waking, before the world rushes in with its demands and its seeming realities, take a few moments. Close your eyes and assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the quiet joy, the deep security, the expansive freedom of being abundantly wealthy. Do not just think about it. Feel it. Let that feeling be the keynote for your day. Carry that inner glow with you. Second, throughout your day, practice the art of the mental diet. Be a vigilant watchman at the gate of your mind. If thoughts of lack, worry, or limitation attempt to enter, and they will, for they are old habits, do not engage them. Do not argue with them. Simply turn your attention, gently but firmly, back to your assumption of wealth. Remind yourself, I am wealthy. All my needs are met abundantly. Third, each night before sleep, this is paramount, engage in revision and state akin to sleep. Review your day, any event, any conversation, any feeling that was out of harmony with your millionaire consciousness, rewrite it in your imagination. See it as it should have happened had you already been that wealthy individual. Then, as you drift into drowsiness, enter your state akin to sleep scene. That short, vivid, imaginal act implying your financial desires are already an accomplished fact. Feel it with all the sensory vividness you can muster. See it, touch it, hear it, be it, and fall asleep in that fulfilled state. Fourth, during these 30 days, make a conscious effort to speak, think, and act from the premise that you are already the wealthy, secure individual you desire to be. How would a millionaire carry himself? With what assurance would he speak? With what generosity would he view the world? Embody these qualities, not as an act for others, but as an expression of your inner truth. When tempted to complain about prices or lack, refrain. Instead, inwardly affirm your abundance. This is not a test of endurance, but a joyous exploration of your creative power. Do not treat it as a chore. Treat it as the most important work you will ever do, for you are reshaping the very fabric of your experience from within. Be patient with yourself, but be persistent. If you falter, if doubt momentarily gains ascendancy, do not condemn yourself. Simply return to your assumption, return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Your faithfulness to this inner state is your guarantee of outer manifestation. As you embark upon this journey, this inner pilgrimage of assumption, know this with unshakable certainty. Your success is not a matter of if, but of when. And when is determined by your persistent, faithful adherence to your assumed state. The law is immutable. It cannot fail. What you persistently imagine with feeling, what you believe with unwavering certainty, must appear in your world. You are the architect of your future, the master of your reality. In the next 30 days, as you remain true to your assumption of wealth, as you walk, speak, and think as though you are already the millionaire you wish to be, the world will begin to yield to you exactly what you have assumed. Do not let doubt or fear or the appearance of your current circumstances sway you from this magnificent truth. Keep your focus on the inner reality, the truth that it is already done. You are not waiting on money. Money is waiting on you, waiting for your consciousness to align with its frequency, waiting for your self-concept to rise, waiting for your assumption to become stable and unwavering. So become now the person who has it. Think as they think, feel as they feel, live as they live in your imagination. Do it boldly. Do it faithfully. Do it joyfully. The law is no respecter of persons. It responds not to virtue or merit in the worldly sense, but to vision, to assumption. So let the world toil and strive as it may, while you enter your inner chamber and commune with the infinite within. Imagine boldly, assume lavishly, and persist until the unseen becomes seen, for it must. It must. You are already that which you seek. You have simply not accepted it fully yet. Accept it now. Accept that you are rich. Accept that you are powerful. Accept that you are the operant power in your world. And then walk in that assumption. For to him who has in consciousness, more shall be given. And to him who dares, the world bows low.